Okay, let's go on to this very, very busy slide. And I am sorry for the busyness of this slide. But do you know something? I think it does reflect the sort of work that you need to do and the amount of work that you need to bring together to satisfy what's in this new bit of legislation. Everything that's in yellow is related to your golden thread documentation and information. Everything in green is to do with resident engagement. Everything in blue is your client information. Everything in red is a sort of work that we and maybe another consultant would do for you to help you bring everything together into a document or documentation that can be submitted to the building safety regulator. And I'd say this is about the right people at the right time and the right information. So let me just zoom in, if I may. I'm going to try to zoom in. Yeah, and so you can see some of this. You see fire door survey, fire risk assessment, compartmentation survey, structural assessment, a whole load of, I mean, this is just a flavor. I mean, it's not everything, but the sort of golden thread information that you're required to have. And then when you talk about your resident engagement strategy has got to encompass a whole range of things. Because you've got to talk about how do you communicate with your residents? How do you communicate if there's a new bit of safety information you need to get across to them? How do you communicate that you're going to make sure that remediation work is going to take place and engage them in that process? How do you engage with your residents if English is not their first language? And you're going to have to describe all of these things in your resident engagement strategies. That's really quite important. Then you over here with your client information. This is about making sure you've got the right professionals that are helping you to develop the systems, the procedures, the information, and ultimately the building safety case and the building safety case report that you need in order to send up to the building safety regulator. So I don't know if you can see it. Oopsie daisy. I always do that. I don't know if you can see in the middle there, I've got these big words, building safety case, because that building safety case becomes almost like the repository, the that central system that you use to manage your building. It holds your information electronically. It's what you use to make sure that you're keeping up to date, make sure that you can demonstrate that you're managing your risks. Okay, so that's what your building safety case is. It's a live bit of kit that can demonstrate to the building safety regulator that, listen, I'm on top of this building. Your building safety case report is a snapshot in time of how you are managing those risks at that building. I hope you can see the distinction between building safety case as the, if you like, the repository, the way that you're able to show and demonstrate that you are managing your building, okay, and a building safety case report being just a snapshot in time of how you've done that on this day in December, okay. So look, it's a lot of information. There's a lot of work to do with different professionals. It's not just one professional involved in this. And it's about making sure that you, as the building owner, as the building manager, have got competent people around you that are providing this information, supplying this information. So your building safety case needs to be a structured narrative. It needs to be evidence as well. I don't think this is, it's not a collection of documents that say, we have a resident engagement strategy, full stop, and it works well, full stop. You can't just do that. You have to evidence that the resident engagement is working. Demonstrate that you do have regular events that allow residents to pass information to you and that you deal with that information and get back to them, etc. That there's two-way communication going on. So, and your building safety case really is about evidencing that you are managing the risks associated with your building. This is right at the core of what the Act's talking about. It's about understanding the risks, identifying those risks, quantifying them, and dealing with them, mitigating against them, so that the risk is now tolerable, whether that be a fire-related risk or a structural stability related risk. Just so that you understand, I mean, the structure of a building might be made of steel, and you might say, well, steel, nothing's going to happen to steel. I mean, it doesn't even burn. And you're right. But here's one of the things about steel. Steel, if you heat it up to about 450 degrees, 500 degrees C, it loses approximately 40% of its strength. Now, that might not mean it will break up, but what it does mean is it might collapse. And so what it was designed to do, it can no longer do. So the Act is concerned about things like that. Does the steel have enough protection to make sure it can do the job it was designed to do for the period that we need it to do it? Another thing you need to be aware of, if you have a building and its structure is made of steel, and you are located near the sea, the very fact that you're located near the sea and salt, a lot more salt is in the air, that salt will attack the steel. And if it attacks the steel over many years, the strength of the steel will be affected. Now you can see what the Act is concerned about. It's concerned that if you have responsibility for a building, that you keep an eye on your building, keep looking at the risks associated with your building, and you keep managing the risks. But to do that, you need to make sure you've got competent people involved in helping you assess your building. It's the same with the fire. Now, everybody knows that a fire is going to start in a flat at some point. That's not the question. The question is, can fire move from one flat to the flat directly above? That's what shouldn't happen. So we accept a fire will start in a flat by virtue of the fact that our flats are filled with combustible material. So that's not good. You're not going to stop a fire occurring in a flat. But what must not happen is the fire spreads from that flat into adjacent flats. That must not happen, as it did at Grenfell, because when that happens, it gets uncontrollable. And the speed at which fire can move upwards it can be alarming. It can be scary how quickly it can move.